Hey everyone, Pupsker here. Today we're going to be talking about and reviewing Warframe. Should you start playing Warframe in 2023? As someone who's spent thousands of hours on Warframe, made thousands of videos, it's a question people often ask me either in stream over at twitch.tv/Pupsker or on YouTube videos in comment sections. So we're going to have a little video talking about Warframe and if you should play it. We're going to be talking about mid-game, early game, end game, generally what there is to do in the game. There is a ton after all. The game is 10 years old, so it really shouldn't surprise you. Either way, let's start with how the early game of Warframe starts out. Now, Warframe has two choices when you start the game. You can go under Warframe Vor's Path, which is like the regular starting point of Warframe, or you can do Warframe the Drifter Path, which is a new start to the game that has been added recently, within the last month or two, after 10 years of Warframe being out. So we'll start there. Early game Warframe is essentially you figuring out what is going on, how to play the game, and what the story is, right? You don't have a lot of power, you don't really know what's going on. The game, it explains it to you, but maybe not the best. I would recommend you play the Drifter Path in Warframe, as you can get more loot, you can get a better explanation on how to play the game, and as of right now, I think it's just kind of a better casual start to the game. It only takes like 3 or so hours max anyways, so it's not the worst. If you go down the regular Warframe Vor's Path, it's the regular start to the game, but it might be a little more confusing, and that's generally why I just recommend people go Drifter's Path first. While the Vor's Path Warframe update, or has been updated before, it's still not quite as good as the brand new Duveri Paradox Drifter experience. So starting into Warframe, that's what you're really leading up to. Do you want to play in one path or the other? Luckily, right after you finish the Drifter Path, you go and can play onto the regular Warframe path, where you can figure out the rest of the game. And then that's when the game starts. Now that you've either completed Drifter or Warframe Path, the game unlocks. You want to go through the storyline and go through each planet, every node in the game. It's going to take a lot of time. This is a 10-year-old MMO-styled game, so you're probably going to be throwing hundreds of hours into it to complete it, if not thousands, depending on how much you like it, of course. A lot of people are very casual on Warframe. They come and go between updates. They like playing up to the stories, but maybe not farming and grinding out a ton of the weapons, and that is understandable. But hey, that's the starting gameplay. So you're going to play on your Warframe, and you're going to go around beating everything. As you get stronger, as you get more mods, and as you get more weapons, you'll figure out the game better, how to kill things faster, how to mod your weapons in Warframes better, and you'll just continually go down the line of the Warframe storyline, right? So the gameplay is powerhouse fast sometimes, but it does start off slower. When you get more mid-game, you'll be able to complete missions pretty easily in like minutes, depending on the mission, so that's always something to look forward to. But starting gameplay is this. You play as your Warframe, and you shoot at people, and you attack. Eventually, over time, you get more and more and more upgrades. You get a Warframe, you get a new operator, if you know what that is, if you don't know what that is, you don't. You can get K-Drive, which is essentially a Warframe skateboard. You get a Necromech, which is a Warframe mech suit. You get Space Arcwing Combat, which actually unlocks relatively fast. So there is Warframe in space combat, and it does play out a little differently than the ground space combat. If you keep going on, there are multiple planets and areas for you to explore. Every handful of years, more areas are added, right? The most recent stuff like Zeramin, Duveri Paradox, so 10 years of development adds a lot of content. You have Railjack, which is spaceship space combat, where you jump between your big spaceship, your Arcwing, and then your Warframe to get around. So Warframe at this point, starting gameplay wise, is nowhere short of just so much to do, right? You go through the storyline, and that's essentially how you start unlocking everything, and it just gives it to you one after another. Depending on how quick you are at doing the quest, might take you longer to unlock everything, but that's okay. So that's gonna be what you are going to want to do. Play through the game and just unlock everything. So that's the general gameplay cycle. The gameplay in the background is general Warframe gameplay. So judge that how you will, of course, right? The storyline of Warframe is also, I would say, pretty interesting. Some people absolutely love it, and then some people don't care, you know? If you're less of a story person, you probably will care less. But Warframe's storyline has been touted to be very good. The only issue with long storylines like Warframe is you go from quest to quest, and sometimes in the main storyline, there is a long wait between doing one or another quest because you have to unlock a ton of items or a ton of area nodes or weapons, warframes, etc. You gotta grind before you can continue on the quest, which is the only thing that I would say can be a little annoying in a main storyline, right? You do a quest or two, maybe 3 for the main storyline, and then you're blocked out for 5, 10, etc. hours. So you might lose your place a little bit in the story there. But other than that, the story is great. It is very confusing, convoluted, and messy in a great way. I'm not going to spoil anything, but a lot of things happen, okay? And it's just very weird, very out there, and very confusing in the best way possible. A lot of people who like Warframe story just really love it. The twists, the turns, the characters. Once you get to the end of the game, you have a wide array of storyline characters, either through main quest lines or through side quest lines, and people very much do enjoy all of those general quest lines. So it's got a pretty good story. It's got like, oh, I don't even know how many quests, maybe 20, 30 at this point plus, right? 10 plus main storyline quests. There's a lot, okay? And it'll take you a lot of time to get through it, but people really do enjoy it. Okay, it's one of their favorite parts of the game. So once you're done through the starting gameplay of Warframe, you're starting on a lot of the quests, the storyline of the game. That's about when you start hitting mid to end game, right? Mid game is when you're starting to play the game. You're collecting a good amount of weapons, warframes, mods, companions. You're getting a pretty good idea of how to do things. You're a good chunk of planets in, and you've got a good handful of storylines, right? You're pretty much okay to just play the game casually. That's usually about where you are at mid game. You have good stuff, you have enough stuff, but you have nowhere near everything. Maybe you're like MR10, MR5 to 10, if you want to count that as mid game, because yeah, you unlock a ton of items with master rank by like 15, so 16 almost everything is unlocked, right? So mid-game, end-game MR could be as low as 16 to 20. Mid-game MR could be as low as like 5 to 15, right? So yeah, just think of it like that. That is mid-game. A lot of it is grinding out, getting better builds for your weapons and warframes, leveling up your weapons and warframes, continuing on and unlocking main storyline and just nodes on the star chart. And that takes you, honestly, hundreds of hours to get like mid to end game in general. But mid to end game is very similar in that regard. So mid game, right? You just farmed it all up and you're getting stronger. You're building up your arsenal and you're becoming a beefcake in Warframe, right? It's a great thing. Some people prefer just a handful of weapons and warframes and just build those up, where others prefer to get all of the weapons and warframes and build them up, or not, right? Just collect them all, or not. So once you're there, you start getting into endgame. You have a good portion of stuff, you're at higher MR, or maybe you just have more hours into the game. Usually I would consider endgame, you have all, if not most, nodes in the game unlocked, you have all major game modes unlocked, and you have strong enough weapons and warframes to pretty confidently do every single game mode, either in a party or alone. That being said, the game's a lot more boring alone, depending on the mission type, okay? Some missions are way more boring solo, and other missions are way more fun with a group, okay? So that's just my opinion. So you're hitting endgame, right? You're doing it, you're slaying it. Endgame activities are not very frequent, I would say. You can continually do all of the weeklies in Warframe and all of the dailies. As a game, Warframe has an absolutely insane amount of dailies and weeklies via vendors, purchases, etc. On certain open worlds, I think if you want to completely purchase out a shop or like the entirety of shops and areas that have daily caps, it'll take you multiple months, if not near a goddamn year of doing the daily reputation grind, going to the shop, buying the item. So that is honestly the mid to end game Warframe cycle, is logging in, doing dailies and weeklies, and collecting loot. Because as a free-to-play looter shooter, a lot of the gameplay is just nuking everyone. And a lot of the gameplay is farming up items instead of buying it, right? As a free-to-play game, you can spend money and buy out so many things and just be strong as hell. Or be fully free-to-play, spend a ton of time, dailies, weeklies, grinding out your items. So that is generally the end game, mid game grind of Warframe. You log in, you try to collect all the loot, and then you take them to a character and then exchange it for more stuff. Warframe does have a very annoyingly high amount of dailies and weeklies, which seem very inconsequential, only to get like 1 or 2 items, and it might take a long time to farm. So always keep that in mind. The free-to-play model has some good, has some bad. Nice thing about Warframe is you can pretty easily farm up all the stuff in-game. It just takes a lot of time, and you can farm up all the stuff you want relatively easily, unless it's one of the harder things to farm. So, hey, not that bad overall, but it does have a lot of really annoying, pain in the ass, daily FOMO tactics like weeklies and daily caps and experience or reputation shop purchases. It all depends, right? It all depends. It is a huge free-to-play game, therefore it has a hardcore grind. That's how every free-to-play goes, but you don't need to grind out everything, right? And that's where our final general point, as well as future updates, will go. The Warframe community and the future of Warframe updates. Warframe, I would say, has a pretty good community. For like a mid-sized game, a lot of people are aware of it, and a lot of people play it. Warframe luckily has trading, but as of right now, trading is only limited to your platform. In the future, Warframe will have full cross-play functionality. It has partial cross-play functionality. It'll have full PvE and PvP cross-play, and that's going to be great. The issue is people don't really care about the PvP in Warframe, but full PvE cross-play, cross-save is going to be amazing. So you'll be able to log in across every platform and play your account. Right now, the issue is you can only play your account on one platform at a time. So I'm a PC player. I can only log into my fully built account on PC. As of right now. Cross-save is all coming in due time, and that'll be a huge explosion for Warframe and the community. The community is very helpful, teaching you how to trade, how to get items, how to do missions. It's pretty easy to find people across every mission type to party up with. Warframe has a lot of community tools. Overframe for builds, Warframe Wiki for information, YouTubers, streamers, content creators, capture artists for information, and just general shenanigans, right? Ton of websites out there, Discord, and just every social media. Everyone you can think of, people are there. Some people be willing to help, right? I do have over 1,000 videos, and a ton of those are beginner guides after all. So overall, people do like the Warframe community. They recommend the community. And there's a lot of people out there in the community that have honestly made so many things a billion times easier via guides or information dumps and just helping people out. So overall, I would say the Warframe community is not that bad. Pretty decent, and the future of updates with cross-save and cross-play will really be when I would fully recommend Warframe. If you're the type of person that jumps between all your console platforms, mobile, Warframe Mobile is also in development, I should add, then might not be the best time to play Warframe right now, because again, you can only use your account, your like specific setup account, on one platform. So I'm on PC, I can only log into my account on PC. That's going to change in the future, but as of right now, it's always worth mentioning because that is a game killer for some. For now, that's most of Warframe. Feel free to ask any questions down below, like the video if you want to support the channel, and check out any other videos and social medias if you want to be nice. I have the stream over at twitch.tv/Pupsker, Epic Games creator code Pupsker, as well as all the social medias across TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So thank you all for being here, and check out all the socials. Yeah!